going to introduce our next speaker, Brandon Metzger, Senior Director, Insights and Analytics at OneMagnify. Welcome to the broadcast, Brandon.
Hey, thank you very much, Bob. Yes, great to be here and really enjoyed the previous two presentations. Let me quickly just introduce OneMagnify for those that may not know. But OneMagnify, we're an organization that creates optimal customer experiences through digital transformation. We're really equal parts digital activation, technology innovation, and with a foundation in digital intelligence with a central focus on AI. So it's been great to be here and hear the discussion today. I'm going to talk a bit about how we are approaching unlocking the voice of customer utilizing AI with owned media. So I've got I tell you what, honestly, due to the time constraint, I'm just going to show this real quick. So the journey to AI from my perspective as a marketer really began, years ago, 20 years ago, we had statisticians, and statisticians were what the marketers relied upon to make their decisions. Early part of the last decade, we move into the world of data science with big data, new technologies making big data analysis much more accessible. And now we move into this world of AI. And I'm going to go and show, you probably have seen this before. This is the hype cycle as shown by Gartner, the hype cycle for artificial intelligence. And just to show this quickly, so there's a general agreement that the peak of inflated expectations for AI occurred sometime following the release of ChatGPT, all of the enormous social buzz kind of end of 2022, early 23. And it's generally true with these hype cycles that these peaks occur when our population as a whole becomes familiarized with a new technology. So it's in mainstream news, and we're seeing and hearing about it everywhere. So if we can say that the peak of expectations has now passed, it should be our job as marketers and in the data science field to make AI practical, and practical to our organizations internally, practical to our clients, as well as ultimately practical to our customers. And so our efforts at OneMagnify are centered around this, making AI practical. And I'm going to share some perspective and some examples of what we're doing today with respect to understanding the voice of the customer utilizing AI. So we look at the comprehensive voice of the customer as having three major components. The first of which, what customers are telling each other, and this is by way of earned media. So this is the conversation that customers are having about our brands and our products that they're sharing with others. Sometimes to a very small community, sometimes to massive audiences. But this is online commentary via social platforms, online reviews, forums, blog posts, and other sources. This is earned media because the themes and sentiments expressed, whether positive or negative, we have earned this because for better or worse, this is the experience that we have given the customer. So we want to capture this data. We want to bring it to life by way of interactive tools and AI user interfaces so that brands can capitalize, adjust, and respond accordingly in order to optimize the customer experience. So the second component is what customers are telling you via their actions. This could be direct communication, such as call center interactions, online feedback forms, surveys, really that zero-party data that we talk about. It can also be operational or transactional data points that are housed internally, such as engagement with apps, usage history with products, loyalty metrics, customer lifetime value models, email communication opt-ins, or, of course, conversion rates of your marketing activities via online or offline channels. And then the third component is what you tell the customer. So this is with respect to your paid media, owned media, email, direct mail, SMS, and all of that content that we create through online and offline channels. So we want to be able to optimize that messaging in a way that appeals to consumers in a very targeted and segmented way that reflects their voice. And so we can look at these three components individually, but when we're able to bring all three of these together, we have that singular view, or you could say ear, to the comprehensive voice of the customer. So I want to walk through these three components by ways of examples of the type of work that we're doing at OneMagnify enhanced by AI. And so the first of those we'll start off with is what customers tell each other. So at OneMagnify, we have a voice of customer experience solution, which is essentially a social listening application that follows our clients, allows our clients to monitor over 1.25 billion posts a day from numerous online platforms, including X, Reddit, Facebook, and others, as well as product reviews in various blogs and forums. The platform can also help streamline responses anywhere your team identifies the need for immediate follow-up. And so within the platform, we can identify top themes that are emerging in the marketplace, utilizing a combination of term frequency and complexity to score these themes. And then by utilizing AI, we can score the sentiment of each of these comments or posts across digital platforms so that you can dial in the parameters and feed that into the content of CRM strategy. And so the image on the right is just a quick example, kind of the top section of a type of reporting that is created as a result of this analysis. This one, I think, in a Domo environment that our clients can then use to filter on the overall themes and data collected by the application. This one in particular was to assist a luxury automaker with the launch of a new electric SUV and get comparisons of sentiment and themes in that online chatter against their competitors. So next, a different example, also within the automotive space, but this one in the automotive service space, so dealer service specifically. So we're taking that voice of customer data further by utilizing generative AI. So we've again collected all of this online commentary regarding a particular service network, and then through large language models, we've created a tool that allows our clients to interact directly with this data, non-technical users such as service managers, for example, being kind of key users for this tool. And so on the left side of the image there, you can see a typical GPT response to the prompt. Summarize why customers have had negative experience with repair services. And I think it was mentioned in the previous presentation, actually, that what you'll get with a typical GPT response is sort of this general, really strong answer, but maybe a little bit too general. So we're familiar with this type of response. It's a great foundational response. It's really incredible, perhaps from an outsider's perspective, but to a service manager, it's much too general. On the right side, though, by training a model on the data that we've collected that's specific to this dealer network, we're able to generate much more customized responses, much more specific and relevant to this particular service network. You see the themes of not returning phone calls and potentially lack of professionalism coming up. So overall, the goal of these types of tools is allowing brands the opportunity to change the narrative and how customers perceive the brand and then take corrective action. So we utilize these themes to create AI-generated content that is reacting to what your customers are telling you and what they're telling each other. So the next example is the second component, what customers tell you. And we've got an example of our application being deployed on call center interactions for an automotive OEM who really wanted an efficient and automated way of identifying trending themes and customer issues within those interactions in order to provide better training for contact center resources. And through aspects of natural language processing and AI, we created some automated sentiment scoring and a proprietary emotional progression metric, which is tracking the overall score, if you will, of the phone call at key moments of the interaction. And so to the right is a particularly interesting example where a customer who was essentially ready to purchase a full-size truck had been to various dealerships seeking that truck, but wanting to find that truck with a heated steering wheel. And it may be that the customer was interested in more of a base model trim and the heated steering wheel was in more premium trim and had bells and whistles that he didn't value. He simply wanted the truck that he wanted and he wanted to add a heated steering wheel. So he's upset about this. He calls into the manufacturer's call center, now frustrated with the dealership. And so the sentiment actually starts out kind of negative from the beginning. The agent on the phone, unfortunately, is unable to provide any useful information. Ultimately, told the customer that the heated steering wheel was not going to be available in the configuration that he wanted, and we see sentiment fall again. And the customer actually indicating, well, if that's the case, maybe he no longer wants the truck. So the sale is lost at that point. Sentiment falls further. And the agent, hoping to salvage this experience, unfortunately, perhaps being poorly trained, ends up suggesting to the customer that maybe he should look at a sedan because he's found a sedan with a heated steering wheel. So the customer wanting a truck certainly doesn't want a sedan. Sounds like an absurd suggestion to the customer, who ultimately disconnects the call in a highly dissatisfied state. However, through this automated insight generation tool, we're able to bring these issues to the forefront so that call center managers and the like can take appropriate actions, improve their training, optimize scripts, etc. I believe our team's actually put together some additional resources on this emotional progression scoring, and so look for a follow-up email from our team that will be sent out after the session. Now, a quick example, bringing those two previous components together, what customers tell each other and what customers tell you. So we have a client that's a joint venture between an automotive OEM and its dealership network. This joint venture sits between these two entities and, among other things, facilitates robust data access to guide marketing strategy. One of the things they wanted to do was to make this massive data available to the dealerships in a way that made it accessible, again, to a non-technical user, using AI to make data practical, right? So this potentially could be a sales manager who certainly doesn't have an analytics team on staff, isn't writing SQL queries on their own. Essentially what we did, our application captured all of the online discussion regarding the brands and the various nameplates and dealership interactions, centralized all of this data, as well as then integrated this data with the dealer network's own DMS data and customer level marketing journey information, turned all of this into a searchable vectorized data set. And then from there, through internally housed generative AI models, we deploy text-to-SQL translators that allow, again, a sales manager, for example, to query that data and gather information and insights by interacting with a chatbot. So a sales manager may ask how customers feel about their new EV, or how customers feel about the new truck versus the competition, or even potentially how many leads do we have in the database within our region for customers who may be in market for our new SUV. And the chatbot then has the ability to respond back by querying the database, the exact number of leads we have, and actually even sort them by derived propensity scores so that the sales manager can prioritize the outreach strategy. So again, just really cool stuff, making AI practical. The solution's being tested across a group of pilot dealerships now, and is planned to roll out to the full network at the end of the year. And so now the third component, what you tell customers. So we want to think about how to optimize our messaging in a way that it resonates and creates the optimal customer experience, which may be different across segments and from person to person. We can measure that experience by looking at the outcomes of our content. Often, though, what prevents us from being able to clearly analyze our content is a rich history of all of the components making up that content. So we have begun exploring utilizing computer vision techniques to create data and then synthesize that content into a usable form for machine learning algorithms and interactions with AI. And what you see in the animation to the right is just a visual example of turning images into embeddings. These images could, for example, be paid media ads. I think this example is actual email content. They could be direct mailers. They really could be any form of media. But these embeddings are essentially vectorized data, meaningless to you and I, but essentially numerical representations of images and text that capture their semantic meanings. And so these embeddings are then able to be utilized by machine learning algorithms trained against the performance of those particular content deployments. So performance could be measured in terms of views, likes, comments, click rates, conversion rates, or whatever the objective of that deployment was. And so then, taking this a step further, utilizing generative AI, we can gain an understanding, for example, of expected performance of content before the actual deployment of, say, an email campaign. The example on the right, we have uploaded an image of an email to a chatbot. Of course, the embeddings are produced from that image, and then we can ask the question, what is the expected performance of this email campaign? The resulting response from the bot tells us we can expect over 24,000 clicks, provides us with an analysis of why this is a strong piece of creative with a great layout and a compelling offer. And I do want to add, the image embeddings may not be the only input to this model in order to get robust results. There are other features about the offer that contribute to the model, but the embeddings component is allowing us to advance this overall ability. But imagine now in a pre-deployment setting, having the ability to iterate and bounce ideas against the AI recommendations. Let's say that a bot returns only 2,000 clicks. We know at a baseline we need 5,000 clicks to break even, so we can interact with AI and ask what are recommendations to increase the effectiveness of the campaign and receive a series of suggestions in response. So then the possibility also exists of the AI understanding performance across specific customer segments and having the ability to make unique content suggestions relative to those segments. And so this is where we're really able to optimize the customer experience with our own content, our owned media, and specifically tailored to our audience, confirmed by their voice and by their actions. So thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to share that perspective. Hey, we're at the very early stages of this journey. It's exciting to be part of it, and I know we all can't wait to see the advances to come. Thanks.